On the busy trade moon Cretinine, everything had to look perfect. Shops were clean, lights were bright, and even pets had to shine. Rich aliens walked around with glowing birds or crystal cats. They wore colorful clothes and fake smiles. Everyone wanted the newest, prettiest things. In the center of the moon, a young alien noble named Zephyr received a gift on his name day. It was a rare Zarvan pup. This breed was known across the stars. They glowed under moonlight, sang soft notes, and walked with perfect grace. Everyone wanted one. But when Zephyr opened the shining gift box, he froze. The pup was ugly. It had one big eye and one small one. Its fur was patchy and dull gray, not smooth and glowing. One leg dragged when it walked. Its tail was too long and twisted like a broken wire. Worst of all, instead of a soft chirp, it made a strange snorting sound like a broken fan. "What is this thing?" Zephyr asked, frowning. "It's your Zarvan pup, my lord," the breeder said. "A small mistake in incubation. But she's strong. She's loyal. She's ugly," Zephyr said sharply. "Take it away. I won't be laughed at." The pup looked up with sad eyes. She didn't understand the words, but she felt the cold in Zephyr's voice. She tried to wag her crooked tail. She even let out a happy little honk. Zephyr turned his back. Later that night, the pup was placed in a small metal box. A worker flew her to the junkyard district, where broken bots and trash were dumped. The worker opened the box and kicked it into a rusted pile. The ugly pup limped out. She looked around, shivering. It was dark, cold. Sharp metal was everywhere. There were no lights, no food, no love. She lay down beside a broken chair and curled up, trying not to cry. But her body shook, and a soft gurgle came from her mouth. In a small corner of the junkyard, under an old ship wing, lived a human girl named Juno. She was a young mechanic with oil on her hands and fire in her heart. She fixed broken things, old hoverbikes, crashed delivery drones, forgotten heaters. No one visited her shop unless they had no choice. Juno didn't care. She loved her work. Machines made sense. They didn't lie. They didn't laugh. And when something was broken, she fixed it. That night, while cleaning parts under a flickering lamp, Juno heard something strange. A soft, squeaky sound, like a cracked siren or a leaking pipe. She stood up and followed the noise. Through the piles of junk, past rusted metal arms and broken robot heads. She moved carefully. Then, she saw it. A small creature, shaking beside a broken solar panel. Big eyes, one leg dragging, a crooked tail. It looked like a puppet made from scrap. "Whoa," Juno whispered. "What are you?" The pup looked at her, confused but hopeful. It tried to stand. Its legs shook. Then it fell right into her arms. Juno caught her. The pup was cold. She smelled like old wires and dust. But she didn't bite or bark. She just lay there, breathing slow, snorting softly. "You're not a siren," Juno said. "You're a mess." The pup blinked, licking her greasy hand. Juno smiled for the first time in days. "Okay," she said. "You're coming with me." Juno brought the pup back to her shop. She wrapped her in a dirty work coat and placed her near the heater. The pup wagged her tail once, then snored loudly. Curled like a broken spring. She needed a name. "Patch," Juno said, looking at her odd fur and twisted legs. "Yeah, you're all patches and parts, but you're still running." Patch made a happy snort. From that day, the two were always together. Patch followed Juno around the shop. She knocked over tools, chewed wires, and sometimes scared off customers with her strange looks. But she also barked when power cells overheated, pulled wires from tight places, and kept Juno warm at night. Some people laughed when they saw her. "Why do you keep that ugly thing?" one alien asked. "She's got more spark than half the bots here," Juno replied. Juno didn't care about looks. She saw something else. Patch had a good heart. She didn't give up. She didn't run away. She stayed loyal, even when the world threw her away. Patch became part of the shop. She slept under the bench, next to the tool chest. She licked Juno's face every morning, and waited by the door every night. One day, a merchant came in with a strange request. "I have a damaged plasma pod," he said. "Can you check it?" Juno nodded. She opened the pod on her workbench, while Patch sat nearby. Watching, she didn't know it was rigged to explode. Just as Juno leaned in, Patch jumped. She barked loud and fast, then slammed into Juno's chest. Boom! The pod flared. Flames, sparks, and metal flew everywhere. Tools scattered. The roof shook. Smoke filled the air. Juno hit the ground hard. When she opened her eyes, everything was spinning. Her ears rang. Her body hurt. Patch, she called out. No answer. She stood slowly, looking through the smoke. Then she saw her Patch lay still, under a broken shelf. One eye closed, her body covered in dust and burns. Her brace was broken. Her breath was weak. Juno ran to her, lifted her carefully. No, 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 she whispered. Not like this. You saved me. ... Don't leave me now. Patch let out one last soft snort. Juno held her tight. And that's when she made a promise. I fixed everything in my life. Now I'll fix you, Patch. Even if it took every part in the junkyard. Even if it took every piece of her own heart. Smoke still floated in the air. The explosion had torn half the roof off Juno's small repair shop. Burned wires hung from the walls. Tools were scattered everywhere. Sparks danced in the corners. But Juno didn't care about the shop. She only cared about Patch. The little alien dog lay in her arms, hurt and not moving. Her body was cut, one side burned. Her small ribs barely moved. Her eyes didn't blink. Stay with me, Juno whispered. Please, don't give up now. Patch had saved Juno's life. If Patch had not jumped in the way, the plasma pod would have exploded in Juno's face. Patch took the fire instead. Juno held her close and cried. For the first time in years, the strong human mechanic cried like a child. Then she stood up. She carried Patch into the back room, the place where she kept the best tools, the place where she fixed the hardest machines, the place where broken things became whole again. Okay, girl, she said softly. Now it's my turn. Juno worked all night. She didn't sleep. She didn't eat. She worked like her life depended on it because it did. She cleaned Patch's wounds. She stitched torn skin with fine thread made for bots. She used a cooling gel from a first aid drone to stop the burning. She carefully replaced the cracked eye with a small scanner lens. She built a new brace for Patch's back leg, using a hoverbot's arm and soft shock pads. She even found a small power stabilizer from a broken war drone and carefully placed it inside Patch's chest to help her heart beat strong again. Every part was chosen with care. Nothing was pretty. Nothing was perfect. But everything worked. By morning, Patch breathed steady. Her one eye opened slowly. It glowed just a little. She looked up at Juno and let out a soft, tired snort. You came back, Juno whispered, smiling through her tears. You weird little hero. You made it. Patch couldn't wag her tail yet, but she pressed her head into Juno's chest. That was enough. In the days that followed, the story spread across the junkyard sector. The ugly Zarvan pup that had been thrown away had saved a human. Mechanics came from other districts. They brought gifts, wires, tools, healing gel for Patch. They wanted to see the brave dog who stopped a plasma bomb. Children came with scraps and shiny bolts. They played with Patch. Even though she looked strange, she still snorted and limped. Her fur was patched with wires and mesh. But now, everyone saw her differently. She wasn't ugly. She was strong. She was loyal. She was Patch, the junkyard hero. 1 week later, a shiny gold skimmer landed outside the shop. It was long and bright, full of polished lights. A guard stepped out, followed by a proud, clean, noble Dot. It was Zephyr. He looked around the dirty shop and wrinkled his nose. He stepped inside, brushing dust from his coat. I heard a strange creature saved a human mechanic here, he said. They say it's a Zarvan hound. Damaged, ... but useful. I've come to take her back. Juno didn't move. She was working on a busted engine, hands covered in black oil. Patch lay nearby on a soft blanket. She raised her head slowly when she heard the voice. She didn't bark. She didn't run. But her body tensed. She's not yours, Juno said, without looking up. Zephyr scoffed. She is my pup. She was gifted to me. She's rare, purebred. And now that she's famous, she belongs to me again. Juno stood up and wiped her hands. You left her in the trash. You called her ugly. You threw her away like broken metal. I had no idea she had value, Zephyr said. Now, clearly she does. She had value before, Juno said. You just didn't see it. Patch stood now. Her brace clicked softly as she limped over to Juno's side. She looked at Zephyr with one glowing eye and one soft, dark one. Her tail didn't wag. She's ugly, Zephyr said, voice lower now. She always was. She's not ugly, Juno replied. She's brave. She's loyal. She's more alive than any fancy pet you could ever buy. Zephyr opened his mouth to argue but then stopped. Patch took one step forward. She didn't growl. She didn't bark. She just stared, as if to say, You left me. You don't deserve me. Zephyr looked away. He turned without another word, walked out, and left the shop in silence. Time passed. Patch healed slowly. She never ran fast again, but she didn't need to. She became the heart of Starsplice repairs. She helped fetch tools, watched over the workbench, and always barked when danger was near. Juno built her a little bed made of hoversoft foam and covered it with her old jacket, the same one she wrapped her in on the first night. Customers now came from every sector, and not just for Juno's repairs, but to see the dog who once stopped a bomb. Soldiers saluted her, kids hugged her, and mechanics whispered her name like a lucky charm. And one day, long later, when Patch was very old, she passed away quietly in her sleep. Her head rested on Juno's boots, tail curled beside her brace. Juno sat in silence that night. She didn't cry. Instead, she picked up her tools and started building. A week later, outside her shop, she placed a small statue. It wasn't shiny. It wasn't smooth. It showed a crooked pup with one eye, big ears, and a strong brace dot at the base. A simple message was carved. She was never ugly, just unseen.